Hi everyone, so in this video I'm doing a Copic marker tutorial, or basically any kind of marker on how to color a face using markers. And I'm going to be using Copic markers for this, and I'm also going to be doing a tutorial on how to color hair, so that'll be part 2 of this, but part 1 is the face and the skin. So this is going to be a tutorial for light skin, but really the techniques you see here can be applied to any color of skin tone you want. Dark skin, tan, like blue skin, anything. So, but I'm just going to be using like light colors, so like fair skin, which is what I'm most comfortable coloring with Copic markers, and I don't think I have the proper colors to do like a darker skin tone, but just for now I'm doing a light skin tone. So basically what I did is I took a sketch I made in my sketchbook, and I took my paper that I use with my Copic markers, which is called Express It blending card, and then I just taped it over here, and I used some Copic multi-liners to outline the drawing with on my light box. So it's like a panel that lights up, and then you can use it to transfer your sketch to better paper, and these won't smear when you put the Copic marker ink over them, so that's why I use them. You can use either Copic multi-liner, there's the SP one and the regular disposable kind, and both work really well. I kind of prefer these, but I want to use this one up too, so that's what I use to outline it with. You can also outline it with pencil crayons if you want to. Just be careful of smudging. Some of the darker colors smudge a little bit. I experienced that earlier, but the lighter colors shouldn't smudge, and also depends on the brand how much it smudges. And you'll notice, like, when I transferred it over, I outlined the pupil and the middle of the mouth and the bottom of the lip, but I didn't outline the top of the lip because I want it to be softer, and I don't want a harsh line there because it's not really that dark of a shadow. And I also thickened some lines and thinned them in other areas. It's not the cleanest line art, but I'm still going to use it for this tutorial. So the colors I'm going to be using are E000, E21, R20 for like the blush colors. It's actually called blush, but that's not why I'm using it, but I do like to use that for the blush colors, and E04 for the darkest shadows. And I might include a couple other colors here and there, but I'll tell you if I do. And you can use any colors you want. This is mostly just to show the techniques on how to color the skin. So something I prefer to do at the beginning is to plan out where the shadows will be with the lightest color. If the light source is coming from up here and shining down like that, then all this part will be illuminated, and then there'll be shadows down here, and you'll just have to kind of think about it, but what parts will cast a shadow and what parts will receive more light than others. So I'll start with the nose. So if the light's coming from there, then there'll be a shadow under here. There'll be one under the nose as well as on the nose. There'll be one under the lips and in the lips, but I am not coloring the lips just yet. There'll be some on the side of the face here, in the ear. So when you plan out your shadows with your lightest color, it's just easier to do it this way because you're not committing to a super dark color in case some of the shadows aren't quite the shape you want them to be. Then you can easily change them when you go in with your darker colors, but if you started with your very darkest color, then it's really hard to change your shadows if you start with a dark color. So I'm going to bring it down here, and I'm going to make a little triangle here because the nose casts the shadow onto the cheek. But the cheek, the light that gets through, it kind of forms in a triangular shape. I'm gonna shade where the crease starts, and it will be feathered up into a lighter color. And also on both sides of the eyelid, but we'll leave a little highlight in the middle of the eyelid. That's what I like to do. Shading this eyelid too, and just on the opposite sides of the hair strands from where the light is coming from. So now, since the light's coming from there, there's going to be a little bit of a shadow cast from her hair since it's kind of has a lot of volume to it. So right here, between her eyebrows, I'm going to add a bit of shading. And in this eye socket here, and I'm going to leave the nose as a highlight because that's going to catch the light. And of course, under her chin, but this is just to kind of map out where you're going to put the shadows. Oh no, this marker's running out. So now that you have the basic shadows, I'm going to go in with E21 and darken them. I'm going to start with the eyelids and up here at the hair. So basically you just want to kind of follow what you did before, but leave a little bit of it Like, don't cover all that you just did, just go and add a small amount of shadow to the edge of each one. And since I have an edge there between the light and the dark, I'm gonna go in with my lightest color. I'm gonna blend it out just by flicking the marker along the edge of it. That's like feathering it, so you just flick it. I'm gonna do that with the rest of the shadows. Gonna blend them into the lightest. You don't need to do too much blending unless there's like too much blending at this point, unless there's like a really obvious line that will be too hard to blend once it dries. Now I'm gonna go in with my darkest color. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna go in with the blush color R20, and I'm gonna add some pink around her cheeks. And just kind of make sure you keep it light. And as soon as you're done that, go in with your lightest color over it, and kind of rub the marker back and forth to blend it into the skin. And this, I'm just gonna fill in the white a little bit here. I might have to switch to the chiseled side because there's two sides to a Copic marker. I'm using the brush side for all of this, but that's running out of ink. I'm gonna use this a little bit. I'm gonna go in with E04, and basically wherever you think the darkest shadows would be, that's where you'd put this color. It's really dark compared to the rest of the skin, but once you go over it in the lighter shading color, it kind of tones it down a bit. I'm gonna go in with E21 and blend out what I just put down. You just want to color directly over top of it and then also to the edge of it so that it brings down the color. Since my lightest color died, I'm going to go in with my colorless blender, which is just 0, and help blend all of this. I like to keep the top part of the ear lighter than the rest of the ear because that's where most of the light will hit, and then the inside will be darker. Now I want to color the lips, and I'm just going to look at my sketch to see how I drew the lips, what kind of shape I used. Okay, I'm going to start with R20, so start with your lighter color so you can kind of plan it out without committing too much to the shape of it. I'm going to color the bottom two, leave a little highlight in the middle, but also add a bit of shading between the top lip and the bottom lip because there would be shading there. And now the top lip is usually darker than the bottom lip, especially when the light is coming from above. So I'm going to darken the top lip. Use E04 for this because I really like this color. You make the lips whatever color you want though. While I wait for that to dry, I'm going to add a tiny bit of shading to the corners of her mouth, kind of down like this. That just kind of helps to add dimension, and I want to blend that out. Hopefully some ink is still here. I might even just make the whole thing this color. Yeah, I think that's better. I just want to add a little bit of pink to the nose, just to kind of balance everything out. So I'm gonna make underneath the nose a bit pink. And E000. This marker is so dead. Oh my gosh. I can't really finish her neck without this color, so her neck won't be colored. Okay, so now for her eyebrows, I plan on making her hair in E70, in the E70s. So these are the browns I'm going to be using. I love the E70s. There's E70, E71, and I have E77. I'm probably also going to add a bit of purple into her hair, probably this one, or maybe these. So this is BV04, BV31, BV11, but I'm not doing the hair yet. I'm gonna do the eyebrows and the eyes, probably both in the E70s. So for the eyebrow, I'm gonna start with a really light color. It's almost gray. E71 is a bit darker, kind of darken that. Then E77 is quite dark. Make the inner corners darker than the outer corners. And probably along the bottom should be darker too. And now for the eyes, I'm going to fill in her pupils with the darkest brown and add a bit of the dark brown along the top here. I'm going to blend that out with E71. and use E70 as the lightest color. This marker is really new, so it feels so nice to color with. And I'm gonna take BV04 to add a little bit of purple in with the brown, because I find shading brown with purple can look really nice. And the eyes, I'm gonna shade them with BV31 and probably a gray color. So just add some shading to the top part of the eye and leave kind of the middle of it lighter. I'm gonna use N2, which is natural gray too, but you can use any gray. I'm noticing her eyes need a tiny bit of shading underneath them because of the light source. So I'm gonna do that. I wish her chin had more white on it. I think that would look better. So if you do this, leave her chin with more white, or whoever you're coloring, if you're coloring anything while watching this. Her lips are bothering me. I want to change them with the multi-liner. She's kind of like smirking, sort of, but I don't know if I conveyed that well enough. I would finish her shoulders, but I can't because my color ran out. And on a normal drawing, I would probably try to like find a way to mix the color, maybe using a light yellow and adding some of this color or something, but this is just a tutorial and I don't want to overcomplicate things. So I'm going to add a highlight to her lips using this is a jelly roll. It's a white gel pen and it's good for adding highlights to things. I'm gonna add a highlight to her eye right here. Make it kind of follow the curve of the eye and maybe another little dot there. So the eyes and the mouth look a bit messy, but I was just trying to correct some lines there, but I don't really know how it looks. But that's just like a basic method for shading skin. Just make sure you put some kind of other color within the skin rather than just like an orangey skin tone or a yellowish. Try to add some pinks or purples in there. It just can give it a lot more depth. So part 2 is going to be coloring the hair. So I hope you'll click on to see part 2 if you want to know how to color hair with markers, specifically Copic markers, but you can use whatever marker you want. So I hope you found this video useful, and thanks for watching.